The Battle of Hampton Roads, also known as the Battle of the Monitor and the Merrimack, by Preston Patton, Schuyler Payne, Austin Wallace, Solomon White, and David Loquircio. Hope you enjoy.
March 9th, 1862, the battle between Monitor and Merrimack, also known as the CSS Virginia, during the American Civil War of 1861 through 1865. The engagement, known as the Battle of Hampton Roads, wasn't history's first ironclad warship battle, but it was the first ironclad warship duel between each other. The Battle of Hampton Roads was a part of the Confederates' effort to break the Union's blockade of southern ports, including Norfolk, Richmond, Virginia, that had been imposed at the start of the Civil War. Though the battle itself was inconclusive.
The Merrimack, also known as the CSS Virginia, required 2 layers of 2-inch iron armor plate to cover its entire casement, requiring upwards of 800 tons of iron. The Confederacy had great difficulty in sourcing the iron and was reduced to scavenging old scrap iron and melting down old smoothbore cannon and iron tools. It served in the Caribbean and was the flagship of the Pacific Fleet in the late 1850s. In early 1860, the ship was decommissioned for extensive repairs at the Gosport Navy Yard in Norfolk, Virginia. The vessel was still there when the Civil War began in April 1861, and Union sailors sank the ship as the yard was evacuated. 6 weeks later, a salvage company raised the ship, and the Confederates began rebuilding it. The Confederates covered the ship in heavy armor plating above the waterline and outfitted it with powerful guns.
On March 6, 1862, Monitor left New York with a crew of 63 7 officers and 56 seamen. The men who served aboard the famous ship would develop a special bond with each other during the 9 months they spent together, and they soon came to refer to themselves as Monitor Boys. The battle between the Virginia and the Monitor began on the morning of March 9th and continued for 4 hours. The ships circled one another, jerking for position as they fired their guns. However, the cannonballs simply deflected off the iron ships.
Unlike the USS Monitor, whose belt of armor descended well below its waterline, the CSS Virginia's iron plating extended barely to its waterline when fully loaded. With each broadside, the Virginia would expend 350 pounds of ordnance, and after 2 hours of firing upon the Monitor and other nearby ships, the Virginia had lightened its load by 5 tons. Ironically, as the ship became lighter, it also became more vulnerable. As the ship lightened, its unarmored sides below the iron casemate were visible above water and could have been more easily punctured. In the early afternoon, the Virginia pulled back to Norfolk. Neither ship was seriously damaged, but if it had used larger balls in its 11-inch guns, then it would have likely penetrated and sunk the CSS Virginia.
Forces engaged in the battle were 1,588, with the Union leading 1,400 soldiers to 188. The Union General John L. Warden lost 261 soldiers and 108 were wounded. And Confederate General Franklin Buchanan lost 7 soldiers and 17 were wounded. Both the Confederates and the Federals declared victory. Neither the Monitor nor Merrimack had been seriously damaged during the battle. The Confederates had killed more people and had sunk 2 of the Union ships. The Monitor was considered the tactical victor, though the Monitor had defended the Minnesota